Good. So this obviously, you see, this thing got just introduced just to make sure the US is there. I don't like this full screen mode, so I will go to a mode that I'm more comfortable with. Okay. It's just personal choice, of course. We are done with all this. I'm not going to go through all of that again. I just wanted to have a friend page hanging around like this. I did tell you about myself, and I got a few to understand you all as well. And we had a long session. We talked about lots of things. We talked about history. We talked about Adam Smith, one among the many guys that we will worship in our journey. We'll worship Adam Smith. We will worship Tom Peters. We will worship. Even there's a saying: "New gods are born." And if you believe in Hindu philosophy, the Hindu philosophy says that we have few little gods. It's still space for a few more gods to fit in. So you had if you did your engineering, you had your own gods in terms of the books that they wrote. And some of our office bosses, especially for me, I mean, there's some great guys that I worked with. I learned under them. They threw the papers that I wrote. They fumed and shouted at me in my very initial parts of my learning career. But then today I thank them for where I am. So Adam Smith is one person. You'll see Vijay Govindrajan. All kinds of guys will come up. We have lots of guys to remember and thank them for. We did a lot of history. I told you, Tiffany Boa is a very interesting character. You should read about her. There's one more that I was mentioning. Yeah, of course, Steve Jobs needs no reference. We talked about this as well. We talked about all of this. I'm just trying to make sure that my flow continues. I can't just begin. We talked about who moved my cheese. Don't spend too much of time on it. It's a thin, useless book. If you've understood it, don't read these kinds of books. I told you that marketing is everywhere. God is everywhere. Marketing is God. We told why marketing is good. We told you we did this graph. I tried to add in a case study, but we ignored it because it's fine. We'll come back to all this thing later. This is the most important thing that you must understand, that price to consumption is a linear graph, which means that price falls, consumption rises, all true all the time. But it's not so. It can go non-linear. It can go non-linear because of the term marketing. And Philip Kotler is another person that you must learn to follow. We also had types of marketing. We discussed this. I also told you, why are you so proud to wear a US polo shirt? And why are you in shame wearing a Ramraj t-shirt? Yeah, that's because marketing does wonders. And your course is 16 hours. Yes, I think this is where we were stuck, or we just wound up in yesterday's class. A lot to do. So let's see how we go. Philip Kotler, the man. Okay, we place other gods with him. He's the father of modern marketing. He's done some brilliant things. Of late, he's been making a lot of noise. He was a little bit anti-Trump, and possibly happy to see him go. I'm quite active on Twitter. I try posting things that might be of interest to you when you are in your classes. And so is Philip Kotler, so you follow him. This is what your class would look like. We will talk about the overview of marketing. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm running fast, but that's because we just did that. And I'll slow down as we go. We'll get into the world of marketing. We'll talk about customer decision making. How do we make decisions? This is marketing. Marketing, if you look at it, index is 688. Glossary is 658. Setting the right price is page number 597. Obviously, this is a huge big fat book. The only way for you to learn it is keep it below the pillow and transmission happens. But other than that, the other easier way for you to learn is to selectively read some. So obviously, 18 hours of class with 3 already gone means that only 15 hours left. We'll kind of we'll get 1,000 feet. May not be 10,000 feet overview, but we'll get reasonably close to the subject for you to understand all these things. Term 2, there is a bit of marketing. Term 3, there is a bit of marketing in various forms, international marketing and all that. So this is like marketing 101. We will talk a lot, but some places, as you can see, are brief discussions. In some places, I leave it for the professor who follows to teach you. Okay. So that's done, and journey, I don't know, what is this? Yeah, so we will talk about it as much as possible. I'll bring up real-time conversations that you will understand, and we'll do a lot of case studies. I've already given you case studies. I'll give you classical case studies which are probably hanging around in the market, you know why Big Bazaar failed, or how did somebody else, despite the market being pretty good. So something like that we will think. The more you observe, the more I can deliver. Obviously, to make the best of your 19-24-month journey. Yes, enjoy it. Enjoy the pain of having to handle deadlines. But that's life, right? I mean, I always say that we didn't force you to do the course. Your parents didn't force you to do the course. So it was your decision. So enjoy it. Okay. So what's marketed? Goods, services. We did this. Events. Persons market themselves. You go to Bengal, you see lots of people wanting to market themselves with broken legs and angry modes. Doesn't matter. Places and properties are always advertising themselves. Organizings are putting up ads. Information is all over the place. Information is also there the moment you ring somebody, and then you're told about what to be careful about, things like that. Ideas are always there. Maybe you go and meet a venture capitalist, or the famous what is that? The elevator pitch. If some of you don't know what's an elevator pitch, I'll explain to you what's an elevator pitch. Imagine you and who's the big guy? Imagine you and name one guy who's got lots of money. Who's the guy who's got a lot of money?
Ambani.
Huh?
Ambani.
Bunny. Okay. Bunny is a little careful now, especially after somebody parked.
Jeff Bezos.
Who's that?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Okay. So imagine by the stroke of luck, Rahul Deshpande. I'll just close this window. Rahul Deshpande gets into the lift and he has Jeff Bezos all by himself. And Rahul Deshpande has to get out at floor number 5, whereas Bezos gets out in floor number 15. On that particular day, will you get out at 5 or will you get out at 15? Or will you travel with him up to 15? Of course, you will not get out at 5. If you have an idea, you want to tell Jeff Bezos in those 20 seconds that you are traveling together. So you tell Jeff Bezos, there's a better way for you to make money, man. I'll tell you how to do it. And then 20 seconds, you give him an idea. He's impressed. So he calls you. So that's called the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch is, if you have a great idea, how do you tell the story in 10 seconds? So ideas are also marketed. That's the message I'm trying to tell you. And market drives the world. Market drives the world. I told you how credit drives the world. And I told you, if you don't spend if you don't spend, the economy will collapse. Spend, spend, spend. You spend. If you refuse to spend, the government will spend. That's how I get projects going. So when you spend, the money flows, money flows. I was reading, of all the people, I think it was an Osho forward that I got, in which it says, money is like water. Money is like water. The more it flows, the more fresh and more it drives the economy. Again, stagnant water, nobody wants to drink, right? So here I'm trying to tell you is consumer drives the market, government drives the market. I'll not get too deep into it. We have lots of work to do in today's class. And just to tell you that this is how the economy runs. The government wants to make money everywhere. The government wants to tax you as a consumer. The government wants to tax you as a provider, as a manufacturer, as an intermediary. Yeah, but that's how business and exchange of business happens. Same thing depicted in another way. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the very first fundamental thing. Let me take a shot. I'm going to try something new because the fact that we are in the online classes. If you guys can please, if possible, replace your photos with names, then I will have a greater choice of pulling you up and identifying you. Because if somebody's got a photo, I wouldn't know what's his name. So Harsh Tiwari, do you know what's Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Have you gone through it?
No, I'm really sorry. I have no idea about it.
Excellent. No. There's no sorry. I'm just wanting to get an idea of it. Somebody else who believes that he knows what's Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Professor, if I may try.
Yeah, sure.
So is Maslow's theory basically, Maslow professor, he has given a theory, what is the requirement at the base level? If I have to take an example, say for a fresh graduate, 21 years of age, what is this requirement at that point in time? The primary responsibilities. Basically, he wants to enjoy his life. He wants to go with friends, spend entire money. So he doesn't have any obligations. So he comes at the bottom level of the Maslow. So once you gain experience with the age, say in the bracket of 30 to 40, at the middle age, a lot of obligations, getting married, having kids, their responsibilities, and those.
Great. That's great. That's a very nice way of putting it. And let me also try putting thanks. That triggers me to start conversing. So all of us have needs. You remember needs. It is not Maslow's hierarchy of wants. It's not Maslow's hierarchy of demands, right? It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know what they say? The earth has enough for your need, but it does not have enough for your wants. Or maybe you tell your son or your father told you that I have enough money for the needs, but I cannot have enough money for the demands that you have. So similarly, Maslow's is one individual who came up with a psychological thought process and said that if I were to look at a human being, if I were to look at an individual, what is it that he wants? Or there is also a saying, I don't get that actual Hindi words to it, but then you cannot preach religion on an empty stomach, right? So lots of Swamijis and lots of other people from other religion believe that I must give this gentleman good food, let him enjoy a basic food and water, and then maybe I'll teach him religion. So similarly, man has a very basic need. If you look at it, what are the basic need? The basic need is food, water, and shelter. Roti, kapda, or makan. Just recently, about 15 years back, we just added one more to that. What was that we added? Anybody?
Internet.
Absolutely. Okay, now replace your photo with a name so that I know who you are. Okay, good.
Sure. No, shall.
Yeah, but it doesn't appear. Anyway, so these are basic needs. I'm telling you, I can live without food and water, but I need internet. So the basic need. Once a person has grown up in his ladder, he has an employment or he has some money. The next most important thing is a sense of security. I want to secure what I have. If you look at it, if you look at man was a savage animal, and he would fight with another animal to snatch the food. Once the food is there, man or even a beast for that matter would secure it. So the second part is security, shelter, secured. I want to feel secure. And man is a social animal, so I want to be loved, I want to be liked by people, I want people, I want to socialize. Quarantining is a worst thing because that cuts you out from the society for something, and that can have emotional impact on you. Outside of all this, you want to feel a sense of accomplishment. Oh, I have been in this journey for about 40 years now, I want to let the world know that I have done well. That's the time that I might want to change my car. I don't like the, just give me a minute. Yeah, I don't like the car that I have. I want to buy myself a better car. I want to demonstrate to my friends that I have the best of the, maybe I want to buy a bigger house. So that's the position of esteem that you have. And finally, with all this, what do you think is going on in the mind of Bill Gates? What do you think is going on in the minds of Narayan Murthy and others? We've done enough. It's time for me to give back to society. So these are hierarchy of needs. So each one of us, if you start looking at it from a marketing standpoint, depending on what product you are selling, it fits in somewhere. I mean, if you're selling plain rice or pav or something, it could be, you might be addressing to somebody in the bottom of the pyramid. Or if you want to be, say that I want to child relief on you, or you want to donate to the Cancer Society, that's when you go and approach somebody who's gone through everything else. He's shown off to the world. He has a family. He has a sense of security. Now it's time for him to get closer to nirvana. So he wants to get in there. And today, where are you? Are you in a position from this very psychological level? Are you today in a position of self-accomplishment? Or are you seeking for friends and partners? Or are you among those few who believe that time to give back? So give yourself a thought, and let's then proceed further. So again, as I told you, it's the pyramid of needs, pyramids of needs. Actually, he made a comment very recently. Maslow's made a comment that, sorry, Earth, I got this pyramid wrong. I mean, don't take this. This is not your learning part. Your learning part, this is how the pyramid is. This is an afterthought. This is an executive MBA, so the right to afterthought, because all of you are mature and have years and years of experience. So Maslow's came back and said, sorry guys, I messed it up. The pyramid should have been upside down. Had there been self-actuation, sense of giving in the very first stage, then there would have been less wars. Then there would have been greater peace in this humanity. Had there been love and belonging as a very, very basic thing, there would have been greater peace in this world. So that's as I said, it's a forethought. I don't want you to think of it, but I just giving you a, there's always the, if you watch the initial Netflix when they came up, there were lots of alternate history. I don't know if any of you saw one of those. One of the first ones that came up was the end of the Second World War. US was a defeated country, and Japan had captured the West Coast and Germany had captured the East Coast. So that's the story revolves that. So that's all thought process. Don't get carried away by it, but just to give you a flavor of thought. So needs, wants, and demands. I need rice. Oh, after a period of time, rice doesn't hold good. I want to have a better. I want fried rice. And now I want dawat. What is that? The best of the rice that I have. So that's human nature. Human nature demands better service. Human nature gets frustrated and fed up. If I give you Avion water day in and day out, possibly the best water supposedly that you can have, over a period of time, you want something better. I don't know how many of you have tried this. There used to be these those massage chairs, you pay a fortune to it. You go sit there, it's got those knuckles kind of thing. They press your calf muscles, they press your feet, and it's ecstasy. And so you're so excited, you buy it and bring it home. After 15 days, the same pressure doesn't have any effect on you and you regret having bought it. It's because your body gets used to those pressures. Now you want greater pressure. Like the story of the frog or something, which it keeps adapting to lack of oxygen and eventually dies. So similarly, man by nature wants something better, That's exactly why no company releases a product which is completely safe. There are options coming up soon. There are version B, version C will have these features. So this will want you to understand what's the difference between wants and needs. Okay, type of needs. Okay. Type of needs. Yeah, needs are very important. I have all kinds of needs, very, very important. Yeah, this I'll have to do this because there may be a question or two on this. So let's go ahead with this. Type of needs, there's a stated need. Let's say you want to buy a car. The first thing that you're going to go and tell the guy in the shop or the showroom is, hey, listen, I want to buy a car. So the shopkeeper or the salesman is going to ask you, why do you want to buy a car? So you might say, it's because I now find it very tiring for me to go buy a two-wheeler, or I that's too much of dust around, and I want to feel myself a little more comfortable. So that's what he states. While that may be the stated need, his real need would be that he wants to upgrade himself from a two-wheeler to a four-wheeler. So that may be his real need. And if you push your customer, if you push your prospective customer, he will come up with the real need. And the closer you come to his needs, the better is the sale process. But very few of them will not tell you the unstated need. The unstated need in the case of somebody buying a car, the unstated need of somebody buying a car would be that, my colleague just bought a car and I have a two-wheeler. Now, do you think I'm going to go and tell the guy in the showroom that, why do you want a car? That's because my colleague, Anant, he just bought a car and I feel stupid having this, the Dio, whatever it is. So I want to buy a car. That's never stated. But in a conversation, you might get to understand what's the unstated need. So the closer you get to the unstated need, the greater is the possibility of a connect with the customer. And connect with the customer, as you can know, if you can delight the customer, nothing better than it. The next is to tell him that when you tell him about all the features, you also tell him that, sir, actually, we are pleased to let you know that the very basic model also comes up with a GPS navigation system, which was not mentioned in the ad, but we are willing to throw it to you for this place. So that gives him delight. So there is stated need, there is real need, there is unstated need, and there is delight. But there's no way that you will know what's his secret need. But if you get to understand him, then if you are able to hit the secret need point of it, then the sale happens. Now, the secret need is best exploited. The secret need is best exploited by Shah Rukh Khan and by somebody else in the Axe deodorant, because that's my secret need. That's not I. Actually, I want the perfume because, it's hot outside. That's a stated need. The real need is I sweat a lot. So that's the real need. The unstated need is my colleagues of late don't seem to be wanting to be next to me because of the bad odor that I give out. Where is this conversation heading? Okay. The delight need is it comes in a small sachet. It's easy for you to slide it in your pocket. But what's the secret need? I'm not going to tell you. Shah Rukh has been saying this, and everybody has been telling you what happens when you have, I can't get those names also, acts, something else. So you know what happens. They say that you are all pretty girls and boys all around you, maybe boys thrown in also in this today's context. So understand that the closer you get to understand the stated, the real, the secret needs, the better is it that you have a connect. That's exactly why the moment this ad comes, we rush to the nearest grocery and pick ourselves a bottle of Axe and whatever. This is just for you to read. I'm not this slide. This is product life cycle. What is the time? 10 o'clock. Okay.
10 o'clock.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure that these should have been, I wanted to have this completed in the previous class. So I guess I'll give it, I just hang on to product life cycle, but I'll not talk about the other thing. Okay, what's a product life cycle? Product also is life. They come, they do perform, and then they just boom, die away. You've seen all of them. They're all over the place. I can't think of something, but they came, they created a ripple in the market, they made a lot of noise, and dead and gone all the time. So if you want to define a product life cycle, it has just like man and just like a human being, it has the initial introductory phase, it has the growth phase or the phase of a teenager, and then it has the phase of an adult, and then it's the phase of an old and dying man. So when in the introduction stage, you really don't know how it will do well. Maybe it will do well, it may not do well. You find lots of challenges, hiccups, convincing the market, convincing yourself that I did the right thing in introducing the product. That's also a time in which you're not very sure and certain, how do I price the product? Should I price it high? Should I price it low? How will the market take it? Yeah, but then at the end of your executive MBA, you guys will become experts to know how to price these things. Then the growth is when you get excited, you get excited about the product, the consumer, I mean, and so there's huge business going on. And after a period of time, it doesn't excite you. Today, I don't think. I was pretty excited the first time I rode a Yulu bike, but now I see them all over. It no longer excites me as much as it could do now. And it won't be long before you see half another dozen participants also coming along. And eventually, over a period of time, Yulu might be history like so many other products there. So product life cycle has got 4 phases. It's got the introductory phase. It's got the growth phase. Growth is the best phase where you can make lots of money. You get higher profitability because you have some lead over others. And finally, you have what is called the mature phase. And then there is a dead phase. But sometimes you don't allow it to die. You just trigger it up. Like all the time, They are trying to revive the Maruti 800. They are trying to revive the Bajaj. They are trying to revive the, and no better example than Java, Enfield. Wow, there was intro, there was growth, there was maturity. It almost died, and now it's bang in a boom. So products have life cycles. You might want to call, in the case of Java, Enfield, not Java. I meant Bullet. I meant Bullet. You might want to say that that's Avatar 2.0, but still it is. It's what the product life cycle is. So I'm done with this page. Would you have any questions on needs and product life cycle? Please ask before I move to the next one. Any questions? You can type in on the chat if you are shy. And not enough for the Greeks. Very good. Elon Musk. Any? So we are doing good.
Professor Anil here.
Yeah.
So generally, whenever a product is planned to launch in the market, the initial stage itself, my understanding is they plan for introduction and look for a rapid growth in certain amount of time. And afterwards, they plan to go for the sustain mode rather than increasing the business share and other things. So before they reach to that time, how they will plan, and what are the factors they consider in all those product life cycle aspects.
You're pushing me to take up a slide which I was not planning to take up. Okay, this is okay. I may have to take some calls today. I'm not taking this. Okay, but then product is history. Who talks about these physical products, right? Come on, man. What is this? We are not talking. We're only talking about apps. We're talking about Netflix. We're talking about Practo and all that stuff. So product life cycle is one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, say, what is called the law of diffusion of innovation. What does that mean? Product life cycle to purana baat hai. You would have learned product life cycle even before coming to an MBA class. So let's look at a new word. I wanted to skip this slide, but Anil is pushing me to do it. Good. That's the way it is. I'm not. It's actually good that you said this. So let's look at apps. Let all kinds of apps hanging around there. What happens to these apps? You produce an app, and what do you have in your mind? You want to. How does the market adapt to it? Just because you have 1,000 downloads of that particular brilliant app, are you going to get excited and open a bottle of champagne? Or are you going to open a bottle of champagne when there are 10,000 downloads? Or are you going to get excited when there are 1 million downloads? Or do you think I have done well if there are 100 million downloads? How does this whole thing happen? This is a new world that we are living in. We are living in a world of lots of apps coming up. And the world has changed. The world no longer wants to look at it from growth, introduction, maturity. Nobody has the time. Nobody has the patience. We want instant nirvana. Yeah. So what is said is that let's say you come up with a new product. Let's say you come up with some unique product. I have examples in the page in the slide next, but this is my explanation page. So there are these kind of very unique characters. They rush and buy everything. They are called innovators. Innovators are the ones who will, for example, most innovators live in Bangalore. That's why you see that any of these apps, recently I was in Chennai, and pain, absolute pain. Nobody in Chennai, if there is somebody from Chennai, with due apologies, nobody in Chennai wants to use Google Pay. Nobody in Chennai wants to use Paytm and all that thing. Whereas in Bangalore, everybody, including the guy who's selling you coconut water, is using these things. Because there are a lot of innovators sitting in this city. So innovators are the one who will rush to buy anything, even if the product is in its very, very rudimentary stage and may not see the life after the initial part of it. So just because of your targeted market segment, you believe that I must sell 100,000 of these products, or I want to have 1 million of these downloads. The 2.5%, and these are numbers, right? These are arbitrary numbers. That doesn't mean that 2.4 is not correct. They're just numbers. So 2.5% of them are innovators. Innovators are the ones who will buy anything. For example, I was the first guy to go and buy the Wi-Fi bulb, which has got 100 colors. So the moment it came in, I put it up in the living room and I tried to play with it, shades of green and shades of pink. Over half time, it's more a pain and an irritation for my family rather than a joy or a toy for me. And these are gone now. I don't think we are still buying Wi-Fi bulbs nowadays. So these are innovators. They might see something happening and then they die. But the early adopters are those who are a little more prudent, who are a little more pragmatic in their approach. They think about it. They want to be sure of what they're doing. So they will buy. They after due analysis, they'll pick up They'll pick up the product. Now, early adopters are influencers. Early adopters are influencers. When they say that, hey, listen, Professor Ramesh bought that Wi-Fi bulb. Hey, don't trust him, man. He's just crazy. But let's say Gopi Krishna bought it. Oh, did Gopi Krishna buy it? Then maybe there is some meaning to it. So if Gopi Krishna bought it, I might also want to buy it. So early adopters are great influencers. So early adopters are the ones whom we run after as the app guys or the ad guys. So the early adopters are the ones whom we insist that you put up a YouTube review of it and all that stuff. Now, early adopters obviously influence a lot of people, and that results in early majority. Early majority means that nowadays, I guess we are in early majority phase when you talk about now is the time to go to the thing. Now, early MFine is a medical calling app or the doctor calling app. We don't know. I believe that it's too early. Alexa is still early adopters. Lots of houses don't have Alexa, but you walk into somebody's house, he has an Alexa, you're likely to go home and order one because that gentleman is an early adopter. Netflix, more or less everybody has it unless and until it's your aunt who's not very tech friendly. They're still not got into this. They are in a linear television mode. Uber, today, I guess every one of us have adopted to the world of Uber. If somebody says, I don't know how to use Uber, I think there's something wrong with it, is what we assume, despite whatever his age is. The laggards are those who will say, I'm very uncomfortable. I don't know how to use an ATM. I don't trust it. There's no way I'm going to make a payment on a UPI ads. Example is my father-in-law who is in his 90s, but who cares? I mean, he's a fragment of the market that we are seeking with. So I don't know where this started with. So Anil, this is what the world the world of marketing or the manufacturing guys want to perceive. They want to hit what is called the tipping point, which is something like 13.5%. Tipping point is also the name of a book written by Maxwell or something like that. That's a very famous book. The tipping point is that tipping point where, boom, it's no longer something that you have to worry about. We had a tipping point in DSU. In DSU, the first batch started with 18. The second batch had 23, and that became the tipping point. The next batch has 80 and the next batch has 100 and all. And now we have 2 sections. So that's the tipping point. The tipping point is more or less a confirmation that you are heading the right way, right? Let me see what I'm, so do I make sense to your question, Anil?
Yes, Professor, definitely. So the question how arised is, if I take an example of Orkut and Facebook, the Orkut made a big impact on social life, and then suddenly after a few years it disappeared. Whereas Facebook is there from long time, it is still sustaining and going in a very good social
So far.
so far.
See,
Thanks for the explanation.
Orkut is another thing. Orkut is like the hare and the tortoise story. You sit back and relax. Lots of companies have done it. I mean, Orkut is nothing but Facebook, right? I mean, Orkut is nothing but Facebook, or rather, Facebook is nothing but Orkut, or maybe Orkut is like WhatsApp. I don't know. I would say there was something called second space or something like that. So yeah, so there are other reasons for you to die. There are other reasons why Satyam died. Satyam did not die because they hit a maturity life cycle. Satyam died because of mismanagement. Anil Ambani Group died not because their product reached their life cycle end, because their business was not run well, right? So yeah. So that's who's typing on behalf of me. Okay. Anyway, good. So so this is where we are done. More explanation on this sheet. Let me now 10:14, not bad. 45 minutes done. Let me now move to the next cycle. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to entertain any more questions on this subject, because we have to move forward and you have time for lots of questions. Don't worry. Now let's move to save. Okay. Let me open another one. Wait, I think the slide is still opening. It's a long one. Give me a minute, huh? Give me a minute to get this going. Yeah, I think it's almost done. No, why am I not able to get rid of this? Back to meeting. Okay, sorry. Very sorry. Yeah. Right. Can you see this? Planning and marketing? Yes.
Yes, Professor.
Yes, I guess. Okay, good. Let me have one slide on the full screen mode. So this is our next subject we are getting into. It's called planning and marketing mix, whatever that meant. We'll see what it means. And So every organization is planning. You're always planning for tomorrow. You want to see how's business going to be 5 years from now. I used to have a slide in my previous introductory class saying that the only difference between the boy who serves you coffee in your office and your CEO or your MD is very, very minor. The guy who's serving you coffee is only planning for today. He just wants to know how much coffee should I make, how much milk should I get. I don't know how many meetings are going to come up. I don't know how many are going to come to office. So the guy at the coffee or the boy in the coffee counter, his worry is only one day. Whereas the CEO and the MD is not worried about today. He's not even worried about this quarter. He's not even worried about this year because he has got lots of guys to worry about this year. His worry is, where will my company be 5 years from now? How do I take my company to the next level? What kind of challenges would become? How will the world look like 5 years from now? So it's all about planning, and so the better you plan, the safer you are in the journey that you do. So that's why you have some brilliant MDs who take you forward. And incidentally, I don't know how many of you saw that message saying that since the new chairman of Tata Sons, who's the new chairman of Tata Sons now?
N. Chandrasekaran.
Yeah, since the time, very good. Since the time N. Chandra has taken over, he's doubled. I don't know, he's doubled capitalization or market cap or profitability, but whatever. He's done some brilliant job. He's been planning himself quite well. So that done, all of us have ideas. When you want to start up something, you have a brilliant idea. You say, why should I do it? Why would anybody buy from me? What is it that I'm trying to solve? Whose pain points am I solving? Am I solving the pain points of the manufacturer, or am I solving the pain points of the customer, or am I solving my own pain points? And how do I go about it? What is the image that I want to see? How will I get the money? What will I do about it? When should I start? The timing is very important. You realize, right? I mean, those companies who started off in Jan of 2019 had new products introduction. Their timing was bad, but who could predict it, right? So how do I start it? Who is going to be my partner? Who is also going to be there? So this is a very popular model that we use. That's called the 5W1H model. So that's what happens in the company all the time. But there is a difference between a business planning and a marketing plan. A business plan is the plan for the entire organization. Marketing plan is something that you would do specific to a particular activity. Just like you may have a plan for manufacturing, you may have a plan for HR in terms of sourcing of manpower. Marketing plan is something that's precisely focused on getting how do I get the market going forward, right? So then you have, why is marketing so unique? Because imagine that all departments are sitting in this table. If you look at it, you have production, you have finance, you have design, you have legal, you have manpower. I just put a few of them. Every one of them are looking internal. Production is an internal part of the activity. Finance is an internal activity. Manpower, everything is internal. While marketing is the only one which looks outside in the world. You have to visualize who the world is. You want to see where the market is going to be. Who is likely to buy my product? What is his comments going to be? Am I addressing his pain point? Is he going to be excited by this product? Is he going to be happy with the saying that I have a new Zomato, I have a potato, the new delivery system. we deliver in 7.5 minutes. That's my only thing that I market. Are you going to be excited about it? That the delivery is going to be 5 minutes earlier than Zomato? Is that enough as a marketing tool? Is that going to excite you? Or am I going to say something else which is going to excite you? Who knows it? Nobody within the organization knows what's good for the customer. The customer knows it. So if you want to do a marketing plan, you have to look out. You have to do a market research. You have to go meet the people. You have to get the pulse of the market. So marketing is the only department which has its eyes looking outward. So that's the picture I was trying to project in this slide. Okay. Now, excuse me, I have to go to the this mode. Okay, it's just by habit. So what is strategic planning? Strategic planning is very simple, right? Strategic planning is like, what did I put here? Strategic versus tactical. Strategy is the team meeting that happens or the team hurdle that happens in the Indian cricket team. I think I picked up, that's more like the Indian women cricket team. Okay. So that's that hurdle. That's that exhaustive planning that goes on with it. That is strategy. Then you go there, it's RCB versus somebody else. And then the first ball, the guy, it's 1 minute. 1 minute. Just give me a second. Those are the perils of working from home. Okay, anyway, so all your strategy can go for a toss the moment Gale hits the first ball 6, and then you have to learn to manage it right there in the field. But in a longer term and in a greater perspective, what is strategy planning? Strategy planning is knowing what resources do I have, what market opportunities do I have, and how will I, in the long term, get a benefit out of it. So that is strategic planning. So what is it? You must have some resources that makes you unique. You must have an objective, which is saying that this is what I'm going to do. And you must have visualized an opportunity, right? So what is it? The example of how many of you know what is Qute? Qute. What is Qute?
Standing in a line one after the other.
No. Qute is the new car that got, it's called some car, quadricycle car that got introduced by Bajaj, which almost is an expansion of the auto. I don't know how many of you have seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, right? So when Bajaj introduced that model, they say that we have the resources to make 3-wheelers, but with a slightly tweaking that, I believe I can make a 4-wheeler market, addressing the same user, I will upgrade the auto guy to a 4-wheeler thing. I know the market is evolving, so I will do this. And this in the long term will give me profitability. So that is the amount of strategic planning that goes on. So sometimes planning works, sometimes planning doesn't work. So strategy is something which is long term. Tactical is something that is a little more immediate. So that said, what are the organization's main activities? How will it reach its goal? Are the things that I'll be looking at. Planning. This is for you to read. I'm not going to get into the detail. Why write a marketing plan? I have to write a marketing plan because what's on paper, the use of pen and paper is always good because you state your rules, you know which way you're heading, you let the department know how you're handling things, and then you will move forward. So now let's get into something more detailed. Okay, I'm just taking a break on this. Okay, the time 10:30. Too early for a break, but let's see how it goes. So anything so far in these slides? What did I mention in these slides? I mentioned that we're just getting into marketing, too early for us to have a conversation. I'm going to go a few more slides and then come back here. Now, if you understand what is a marketing plan is a series of things that you will do to make sure that the product that you have in hand or the opportunity that you foresee is converted into business. Now, let me introduce you to the marketing plan. This is the periodic table for you. This is everything else for you. This is the stuff. Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Shashank, can you call Amma? So this is the marketing mix. I want you to get it into your head. I wake you up in your deep slumber. You should be able to understand what is a marketing plan. What does a marketing plan involve? The marketing plan involves a business mission statement, a business vision statement that is missing here, but that's a business mission, a business vision statement. What is it that I want to do? How do I want to go? What is that big job that I'm going to do for the world? What are the objectives of my company? What is it that I plan to do? Then the marketing plan involves a SWOT analysis. We know what is the SWOT, which is a strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. Am I in the right market? Do you think I'll be beaten by competition? Or do you think I don't have the capability within me to actually do this? If I can do all of this, what's the target market that I should be going? Who should I be running after? If I have, there's somebody, I stay in a place called Jayanagar, and Jayanagar, Baswangudi, Malleshwaram are supposed to be the 3 areas where there's a dwindling population. It's because it's becoming a population of oldies. The youngsters are either moving to the newer parts of the town or they're moving abroad. So I found an ad on the road which said, we take dogs for a walk. We come and give your dogs a shower. Now, come to think of it, it's the oldies who have been burdened by a dog which the kids have. And eventually the oldies are the ones who will take the dog for a walk. So if you know exactly, the person who's put up this ad knows exactly the market that he wants to attack. So do you know what's the market that I want to attack? And then how good is your product? How good is have you priced your product correctly? Are you selling a cup of coffee at 110 rupees? There is somebody who's selling the cup of coffee at 110 rupees, 300 meters from my house. And there is also somebody who's selling the cup of coffee at 10 rupees, again, 300 meters from my house. So what's the difference? How are you promoting your company or your product? Where have you positioned your product or your company? Are you at the right place? Are you selling movie tickets in front of schools or something like that? Are you at the right place or are you at the wrong place? That's one thing. Eventually, have you implemented your plan well? Did you evaluate your plan? Did you get a feedback? What control mechanism? All of this we are going to learn in our class. Every bit of this is what we're going to focus in the next 15, 16, 14, 18, whatever hours are left. So get this in your head, concentrate. Remember, of course, I will take a 10-minute break and we'll come back and then we'll go into each one of them in particular. But before I move to the previous slides, any questions on this particular slide? And as you can see, I have not mentioned it once. I've mentioned it 4 times. Get this in your head. So any questions? Who do I ask? Savita, any questions? Manar, Manvita,
No, sir. We are clear as of
you're
now.
all clear? Perfect.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect. Good. Nizam Pasha, Vinay Reddy, are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're following me, Santosh Gowda? This is, my class, I'm going to wake you if you're sleeping. Okay. Naushad,
Yes, Professor. Yeah,
the way,
following.
the way you were quiet, I thought you were writing a new lyric for a song.
No, like I was on mute.
Okay. No, because Naushad is a good lyricist.
No doubt, sir. No doubt,
Okay.
no doubt, Professor.
Yeah?
It's clear. It's clear.
Clear.
All
Yeah,
right.
perfect. Okay, now if it's all clear, let's take a break and we actually supposed to begin the class in a lighter mode. These are the books. As I said, don't write anything. Hang on for a minute. Don't write anything. Do you know who wrote these books? I mentioned Tipping Point. I even mentioned the name. Do you know who wrote these books? You think you know it? Then answer them here. This is section B, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Section B. So I'm going to paste this here. Chat. Direct name, everybody. So I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes. This is not a break. This is not a coffee break. This is work break. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes from 10:34, not even 10 minutes. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, 10:34 to 10:40. I'm going to come back, but I like to see you guys answer them. Right? Done? The silence.
Good, Professor.
Okay. Okay, good. So see you in 10 minutes, 6 minutes, and we'll continue the class. In the meanwhile, attempt these. I have just one response so far. What's on the chat? Why are you typing here, Anand?
Sorry, Professor. I just typed it by mistake. I have filled up the form now.
Doesn't matter. But now I'm going to trouble you. What are those 7 habits?
I have not read the book in detail, but then I know that there's a book called 7 Habits of Effective People or Managers by Steve Jobs.
7 habits that he proposed. But good. Okay. Who else has been answering? Let's see what's happening here. Yeah, who got it? I think you know your own answers, if I'm right? Is that Ritu has answered all correct, Ritu, or did you get a few wrong?
Hi, Professor. I think you mean Riju. Yeah, I'm Riju.
Riju. So sorry. Riju.
Yeah, no problem.
Where are you from?
I'm from Bangalore itself. I work in Bangalore, but right now I'm in my.
You got a Chatterjee to your name, so that's why I was wondering. Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from West Bengal actually.
Are you from Calcutta?
Not exactly Calcutta. It's around. It's around 150 kilometers from Calcutta.
Okay.
So it's a place called Durgapur.
Of course, Durgapur, steel plant.
Yeah, right.
I grew up in Calcutta.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Calcutta. I studied in Calcutta. I did my schooling. So I was just wondering.
Okay.
Good. Vani, you did a couple of them went wrong, huh? One went wrong.
Yeah, few of them went wrong, but I'll go, okay.
Good. I mean, just I'll tell you. Okay, good. Is it time to stop? Obviously, it's time to stop. Okay. So here are your answers. How many of you got? Lots of you got positioning right. I mean, you got everything? Whoever got everything? Great. And this one, of course. I didn't give you an option here. Gandhi. I didn't give you an option here. You had to get this right. So you want to start reading any one of them. Make a beginning by reading each of them. They're brilliant books to read. Jack Welch. I've been learning more about Jack Welch and the Dean and Captain Nagaraj Subbarao. He loves talking about Jack Welch, and he talks quite a bit about the way Jack Welch ran the company. I think the company was called Microsoft. Jack Welch.
General Electric.
Okay. Oh, I know. Obviously, I was just trying to see if somebody would catch me on the thing. Okay. Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid is a great book to read. This is Marketing is a lovely book to read. Tipping Point, I just mentioned what is Tipping Point. It's that point in time where it said How to Win Friends is an ancient book. It's an ancient book, but still very popular. We normally make it a point that if the guy is a grouchy character in the office, at least when I would leave a book, or I and my friends would leave a book on his table when he's not there, make him read it. These are the Indian versions of it. Wings of Fire. Honestly, I haven't read it, but Abdul Kalam, so I put it there. Even I want my TRP, right? The other end is Gandhi, so he's there. I love this book called Simplify. That's by Gopinath. I personally admire this gentleman. He's done wonders. My opinion, of course. I used to be greatly excited about Kishore Biyani, the way he's done it. But now he's in a bit of a mess. Who doesn't know Sachin? I don't know how many of you got it right. Inner Engineering, Sadhguru. My opinion about him keeps varying. Sometimes I like him, but I also believe. But each one of them have a story to tell. Each one of them are best read books. So I want you to start reading them, and that's the best way to do it. However, if you want to make a beginning, I suggest you read this book. It's called The Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. And Yuval Noah Harari is hard currency today. He's like the bitcoins in today's world. Most sought after guy. He wrote some 3 books. He also just released a 4th book. But for those of you who can't read 600, 700 pages of the books, you have somewhere in this world of internet and WW, and you're all smart boys and girls, you know how to find them. Read the vintage version of it called The Money. Gives you a good, and it's possibly the best business book for you to begin by reading. So that's it. No more. Let's get on to the subject. So marketing plan. When do we have a break? 9:30, 10:30, 11 o'clock or 11:15, something like that. We'll have a break. Okay. Yeah. So this is the marketing plan. I told you what's a marketing plan. So what is a business mission statement? The primary objective of any organization is mentioned in this business vision statement. Why vision statement is to make money for my company. Our vision statement is make lots of money, cheat customers any way it's possible. That's my vision. The vision is that myself, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren live very happily ever after. We make lots of money. That's my vision statement. Why would you want to doubt it? It's up to you whether you want to do business with me or not. But not, of course, all organizations have a vision and mission so stupid as this, but some of them have some great guiding values. The guiding values are reflected in the vision and mission statement of a company. And some of them display their vision and mission statement proudly and boldly. Some of them are hidden in some of their communication language. For example, Tata says, at one point, Tata would say, we also make steel. That was what they were saying, which means that we serve the world, we do a lot of benevolent activities, we do good to the society. Okay, by the way, we also manufacture steel. So that's another nice way of putting it. So each one of them have their own business vision and mission statement. And the more better it is for the organization if the business vision and mission statement is percolated down to the last person in our organization. Our organization is our mission statement would be do anything to please the customer. Listen to the customer could be a great mission statement or a vision statement. What are the difference between the two? We'll try to understand what they are. A business vision statement, and I'll do those slides are for you to read. I'll only pick up slides that are relevant for my conversation. A mission statement is what's wrong with the world and how do I intend to fix it. That's a mission statement. And a vision statement is how would the world look like when I have fixed the problem. That's the vision statement. The vision is really far away. The vision is so goddamn far away. The mission is something a little more closer to us. I can put it in a plain language, and then I'll move to another slide where I would give a more business explanation. If you look at what BJP is saying, or if you look at what the government or the BJP is saying, is that they say Congress Mukt Bharat, Congress Mukt Bharat, right? That means to say that we want to see the Bharat where Congress has no political existence. That's the vision. Would they achieve it? Would they falter on the way? That's not our point of conversation. But that's the vision that they do. But how do I do it? How do I do it? The mission is to win every election, every constituency, every voting that happens. So the vision is the big thing. The mission is the way that I would actually go and fix the problem. And once I fix the problem, how would the world look like? So that is one way to look at it. But these are all generic examples. If you look at the world in a more diversified sector, like the sector that I come from a sector of SATCOM. So I took these three nice examples, and you all know them, right? Now space is now the in thing now, right? So Elon Musk is saying, what is Elon Musk doing? Elon Musk is launching, I guess all of you know Elon Musk, right? And as a matter of fact, a lot of you mentioned Elon Musk in the person that you admire, the company that you admire. Of course, you did also mention Jeff Bezos in my initial Google form that I asked you guys in the previous class. So Elon Musk is saying that the earth is dying. The earth is now getting polluted. The earth is not becoming livable. It's time for us to move out. It's time for us to move out and have a new dwelling. And in all possibility, Elon Musk promises, may not be in my lifetime, but definitely in your lifetime, it's possible for you, if you have the will, the inclination, and the money, to go to Mars. Or that's the way it is going to be. So he says, Earth is dying. Let me find a new place to live. So what is his vision? His vision is to have an alternate dwelling for humanity. That's his vision. Now, what is his mission? Is to make space exploration, space travel possible. Now, how is he doing it? By getting out more efficient space launchers, more efficient rockets, and reusable stage 1, stage 2, and fairings and all that stuff. So he's saying that I will head in, this is what is his vision and mission statement. Very clear, right? No doubt about it. Jeff Bezos is somebody who's also well known to us, and we've nothing to do. We are sitting at home in front of the computer, we give him business, right? That's how we do. We give business to Jeff Bezos. We are sitting, doing nothing. Let me order something on Amazon. So Jeff Bezos says, I agree with you, Mr. Elon Musk. The earth is dying. But Jeff Bezos has a different approach to life. Jeff Bezos has a different approach. He says, earth is my home. I'm not going from here. Yahin pe rahunga. I will make earth livable. I will make earth livable. How? Whatever are those industries which are causing pollution, I will move these industries outside of earth and I'll put them in Mars or on moon. Crazy? It's as crazy as Elon Musk's idea. But that's the vision that he has. He may not achieve that vision in his lifetime, or either of them may not achieve a vision on their lifetime, but they would have built up better rockets, they would have built up better technologies that somebody who follows them will get there. So the greater the vision, the better the outlook. So these are the vision. So can you mute yourself, those of you who haven't, because it might generally affect my flow of conversation. While these two guys are there, Richard Branson, as you know, is another crazy character. He's saying all that is fine, guys. Let me promote space tourism. I'm doing, okay, let's make space the place to hang on with. Let's have Airbnb in real air. Okay, so, or ratified or air. So these are diversified thinking. So you now get an idea of what a vision and a mission statement is. Here is an example of one vision and mission statement. take a moment to read it up. You know what the mission statement of Microsoft is. You know what the vision statement of it could be. A personal computer in every home running Microsoft software. Mission is help people do better business. Right? So are you guys clear on this? Some more examples of vision and mission. I normally throw in a question at this stage, but then we can't have too many of them. So I might even skip it. So before I move out of this, anybody have any questions on it? Vishal, are you fine?
Yes, sir.
Yashaswini, PP, whatever that stood for, price and promotion.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So there we are. So then Facebook has a vision, mission statement. What do you think Facebook's mission statement would be? Facebook's vision statement is the whole world should do only Facebook and not work. Correct? And that's definitely WhatsApp mission statements. Sub log surf WhatsApp, correct? Good mission statements. They also have sub units within a company. They are called strategic business units. So sub units within a company may have their own different vision and mission statements. I hope you're getting it. There are lots of companies under Reliance. There are lots of companies under Tata, lots of companies under lots of parent companies. They may have the parental vision and mission, but the companies within their own may have their own vision and mission statement. Or you might even have a region which may have if possibly the region of Hindustan liver might want to say in southern India, we want to get into 30% of the ready-to-eat market, because southern India market is held up by MTR and Mayas and who knows what. So our vision is to be one of the primary sought after products or something like that. So each of them could have their own vision and mission statements. So this is what we have done. Then there are marketing objectives. I think you can read these. Objectives, objective. What is the objective of the company? What does the company want to do? We want to make better tires. We want to make computers which are better, more reliable, more sturdy. That's a little more finer purpose of your company. A little more detailed. Diamond Sagar may want to be the best university to be sought after. The executive MBA might have a finer objective saying that we want to at least turn around some great managers and great leaders from our executive MBA program or something like that. Okay. So these are the objectives. You go through these slides, read about them, then go further. Now we're taking a conversation on SWOT analysis. SWOT is generally, most of us know SWOT. Let me ask, you could, SWOT is something which most of us even knew it even before we started coming to this class, but we will learn it all the same, and then we will look at the variation and competitions. Recently, when I was going through the annual report of Airtel or Bharti Airtel or Bharti Limited, whatever they are called, I noticed that they had a twist to the story. They were not doing a SWOT analysis. They were doing a SCOT analysis. What did they say is that we don't have weaknesses. We only have challenges. That's probably, let me see, there's some chat messages here. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so they said that we don't believe that we have weaknesses. We have challenges. Maybe that's a better way. And the more I thought about it, I think we should stop calling it SWOT. We should actually SCOT or whatever is the acronym that might come out of it. So SWOT analysis talks about things the company does well, the things that the company doesn't do well. I know some of you might find this repetitive, but that's the way it is. You might have to hang on to it for the benefit of those colleagues who come from a different thought process. So things that the company does well, things the company aware that it does not do well. Many a time the company is not aware that it's not doing well. That's where the problem starts. We believe we are doing well. And how many of you know a story called The Emperor's New Clothes?
I have heard.
You heard of it? You know what the story is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I don't. Anybody wants to know the story, or if you all know it, I guess.
Yes, Professor, we would like to know.
Yeah, it will be helpful, Professor.
Okay, good. So the story goes is that the story is, why did I say that? Let me remember why I said that. Things the company does not do well and they may not be aware of it. Okay, right. So what happens was this emperor in this ancient kingdom was a guy who was crazy for clothes. You know, he wanted the best of the clothes, the best of the thing, but he was a dumb guy. So, so then there were those two cheaters or two smart guys or a couple of smart guys who just walked into the emperor's emperor's darbar, and they told the emperor that, dear emperor, we are the guys who can weave the finest of the clothes, the finest of the dresses for you, and why don't you recruit us for designing your annual parade dress? So the emperor said, sure, why not? Go ahead. So you're the best guys. And they asked for, what they would ask then, 100 gold coins and things like that. So they gave it. And the guy said, you're going to take us about a fortnight to make those clothes. And you're, of course, welcome to see us once a day. So when the emperor goes to check the progress of the weaving, he sees empty looms. There's nothing in the loom, the empty loom. But the two guys says, Emperor, have a look at it. These are the finest cloths that can you see the gold on this? But if you cannot see it, that means that you are dumb. That's what they kept telling him. So somebody who's dumb, somebody who's not intelligent will not be able to see those fine weaving. So the emperor doesn't want to say that he's dumb. So he keeps seeing empty looms and keep showing him the fine weaved cloths. Then they show him how the cloth is cut and all that. So long story, there's nothing actually, it's all imaginary bullshitting. And they make the emperor wear an imaginary clothing. And so obviously, you know how he's parading on the road. But the emperor is an emperor. Nobody has the guts to tell the emperor. Nobody has the guts to tell the emperor that he is walking naked on the crowd. Because you know what the emperor would do. You know what the North Korean Mr. Kim would do if you spoke against him. Similarly to the world existing then. So everybody was keeping quiet. The emperor was kind of walking around proudly on his annual darbar till a small girl shouts saying that the emperor is naked. So that's when the emperor realizes that this is what it is. So the story is that many a time in many organizations, the head doesn't realize that the company is not doing well, or the head doesn't realize that we are not going in the direction that we must be going. There are some lacunas in our thing. So many a time, the company wouldn't even know that they are not doing well because it could be an autocratic organization. Nobody has the guts to stand up and tell him that the emperor is naked. So that's the story about emperor's new clothes. So Google more to get, it's a very popular use. So second, that was internal. Then you have what is called opportunities. What is the opportunity do I have? Do I see a business here? What started off was a different kind of a business for Zoom, and today they have tapped on those opportunities. And you know that Skype was there, they did not type that. So how do we make these opportunities in our favor? So those are opportunities converted. Then there are threats, of course. No, there is nothing sthirata nahi nahi re. There is nothing stable in this world. Things are always changing. The only thing constant is change. So there will be new threats coming in. It's not too long where you may not shop with Amazon. It's not too long where you may not want to buy an Apple product. They will be there. Today you have favorable tailwinds for these companies. But then, as with product, as with life, they will die one day. So how do you manage the threats? The threats are external. So we will do a SWOT analysis to know about how a company is doing. So SWOT, strength and weaknesses are internal. The internal to the organization, it can be controlled. If I have labor problems, who is responsible for it? I am responsible for it. If I have financial problems, who is responsible for it? It is internal. I cannot blame the organization. I cannot blame an external factor for that. If I'm efficient, that's my strength. If my production qualities are low, that's my weakness. Then opportunities are external. Sometimes an opportunity could be lost, like COVID-19 was an act in which none of us could do anything about it. So opportunities can come, can go, can have social impact. They are demographic impact. Opportunity can be lost by somebody coming up with a better product, or somebody coming with a legal law which prohibits certain things. Like very soon, the government may stop ban of single-use plastic or something like that. So even though the government may be making the best out of single-use plastic, the threat is an external threat. He better be aware of it and move away from it. So that said, same thing, opportunity, external, and all that stuff. Then you have an example here of some of them, what Microsoft did. Very, very, very dated example. It doesn't really make sense here. Maybe I should replace this with something else. Microsoft believes, let's look at their threats. Microsoft believes that their threats are Google Drive and other Office competitor. Their threat is Mac OS. Maybe they are right. Maybe their threats are genuine. Their strengths are they're still the leading their company. They have a large, reliable, committed, loyal clientele. And there you go, some examples of that. Apple has their own SWOT. Somebody did for Apple. These are not the official versions of it. The weakness here says the death of Steve Jobs. I don't know how good you guys can see it, but doesn't really matter. Yes, at some point, death of Steve Jobs predicted almost the death of Apple and the lack of innovation. But Tim Cook has done well, and Apple has done well. They've continued to be doing well despite that issue. SWOT is a little bit outdated. SWOT is, people like to use new terminologies. So you may not want to use the word SWOT. You may want to use the word SOAR, which is you talk nothing negative. You only keep talking about good things in life. So you say strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. My results are not good. I have only a 15% market share. So what's going wrong with something? Then noise, all friendly acronyms for us to remember. You know what it says. And this is another very interesting model. I'm going to talk about this model and then we'll take a break. This is a very interesting model. This is a model that differentiates a non-MBA guy from an MBA guy, because everybody talks about SWOT. This SWOT is kind of a little bit not very correct. So it's the VRIO model. I'll be very quiet from you guys. Maybe I'm doing all the talking. Are you all doing fine? Are you with me?
Yes, Professor.
Yes, Professor.
Yes, Professor.
Yeah, Professor.
You should once in a while.
Yes, Professor.
Feedback is necessary. Yeah, Manar, is that a fine or is that a hand raise? It's a fine, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine, sir.
Fine, good. Okay. We used to experience this quite a while. Is that when you're having a conversation, especially when the phone lines were bad, you ended up talking to a dead phone on the other end, and that was the time when you asked the trickiest question with your customer. Sir, payment kab aayega? Only to realize the phone is dead on the other end. But that's the fate of life anyway. So VRIO model is a very unique way of saying how valuable is the product that I'm doing. Valuable for whom? For me or for the customer? Obviously for the customer. How much does the customer care for my product? How much thrill does that product bring to him? How much valuable? Obviously, the Uber and the Olas are very valuable to us because they truly address a pain point that we have. Very, very valuable. And I totally believe so. And they're very valuable. Just like the metro lines going by your side are very valuable. They reduce time. They make it more efficient for you. So that's the valuable part of it. The second is rare. How rare is it? Am I among the very few or am I among the many? Am I among the very few or am I among the many? The auto guy may have the opportunity to say, sir, Majestic Barala, Kormangla Ghoktini, but now no longer. You are not the rarest of the kind. Earlier, it would fall on his feet and say, take 10 rupees more, take me to domestic. There are other modes. The auto numbers have increased. So I'm no longer rare. So that's the part of it. Or am I that rare jewelry shop? Which am I the only jewelry shop in the street? Or do I have a product which is so difficult to imitate? So hence, there's no competition. So that could be what it is. The third is the organization around me? Do I have the stuff in me to expand? Do I have the stuff in me to go big? Let's say the organization around me, the best example of the organization around me is, I'll give you the last one first and then go to the others. Are mobile phones valuable to a company, to an individual? Yes. Are mobile phones rare or mobile phone services rare? No. Is it difficult to imitate? No. Take a license and do it. But how many of them can deploy a 4G network across the country and commission it on a particular day? Not many. Not even BSNL for that matter. So I have the organization within me. I as in Reliance and I as in Jio have the organization within me to dig all across the country for 4 years and lay the cable without getting a rupee revenue. And then one fine day power those dark fibers, or light those dark fibers. That's what the organization is around me can do it. So that is the VRIO model. Is it very difficult to imitate? Yes, I always give the same example term on term because I love giving that example. Among the many things we will do is to get to know each other. And I'll invite you to have a tomato chaat in my neighborhood. Because the guy makes the finest tomato chaat which possibly available anywhere else. People come all the way to my neighborhood to eat that chaat. So I don't know if it's valuable or not, but depends on the mood of the day. Is it rare? There are hundreds of guys who make tomato, but somehow this guy has got that stuff in him to make that beautiful version of the thing. But unfortunately, the guy is poor. He's the only guy who's doing it. He's not able to move forward despite having a yes, yes, yes on 3 counts, because he doesn't have an organization around him. He doesn't have uh, the capability to expand into 100 branches. He's not like McDonald's or Kingfisher, KFC, who would go in overnight into 200 places. So he may be we, he may be R, he may be I, but O is not with him and it will not stand. So the rest of the things I'm sure you guys can understand is that, is it rare? Yeah, lots of things. If they're very rare, people will come to you. If they're valuable. So this is a more nicer model that I would want you to learn and understand. This is Starbucks VRIO. Coffee is like I began the story saying that you can get coffee at 15 rupees, you can get coffee at 110. But why go there? Is because they bring in a value factor. The fact that I invite, whom would I invite for a cup of coffee today? Let's say I invite Ullas for a cup of coffee. No way I'm going to take him to the Udupi near my house. I'm going to take him to the Starbucks, because that's the value that outlet brings to my own position. So they are rare, reasonably rare. They are difficult to imitate, the way their process works, the way their delivery mechanism works, and they have the organization to be able to stand by. So this is one model that I wanted to talk to you all about. There are VRIO of McDonald's. I'm sure typically I would have asked you to do one more, but in an online class, we'll not get there. So that's it. We'll take a break. Any questions? I would be disappointed if you didn't ask a few. So now go ahead and ask a few questions.
So, Professor, is there a better way of doing this? I mean, it's SWOT or VRIO or any of the other 2 models that we discussed, the noise or SOAR models. So, how do we know which one has to be applied for any kind of a business out there?
Each one of them, actually, what works on it is who are you addressing? Point number 1, who is your target audience? Who is your target audience? By that I mean that are you addressing it to your own sales team? Then you may want to just do a SWOT model and tell them these are our opportunities and threats. But if you are possibly addressing it to somebody who is wanting to invest in your company, then SWOT model may have a lot of holes in it. You may want to give them an alternate VRIO model saying that invest in me, give me the organization support, I will give you results as we go along. So these are evolving processes. And as you grow up in your own use of these things, you will notice that one doesn't really address everything. But then that's a going forward plan.
Sure.
I hope that makes some sense, right?
Yep, sure. Thank you. Thanks, Professor.
Okay, so let's take a 10-minute break, or how much then? 11:15. What time the class ends? 1 o'clock. 1:30. 1:30 or 1? 9:30 to 12:30. Correct. So 12:30. So let's take a 15 minutes break and we'll join back. Yeah, you guys okay with my speed of conversation? Okay, right?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, so let's pause the recording and I'll see you in. We started off by giving you an overview of Principles of Marketing book by Gary Armstrong and Philip Kotler. Yeah, good enough. Absolutely. Yeah. So then we got to understand the human psyche by talking about the Maslow's pyramid. There are lots of such stories there. And then we said, let's plan a marketing journey. We said why planning is important. And then we said we'll do, what is it? The vision and mission of a company, why that is so relevant. We did a marketing mix. The marketing mix is a very important thing. Wherever that slide is hanging on, somewhere here, right? Yeah, right here. Yeah. So this is something that you need to get it into your head. We did that. And now let's continue in our journey forward. Let's continue in our journey forward. SWOT is done. So beyond SWOT, yeah, this is something that I explained. Somebody was asking me, where do I use SWOT? Where do I use noise? Actually, there's nothing really different between SWOT and noise. Sometimes they are new terminologies, but the end of it, what's the story that you're trying to convey? Depends on who you're trying to convey the story. If you want to convey the story within your own organization, you might want to overemphasize on SOAR, which talks about nicer things within the organization. But if you are complaining to your senior management, you might want to show the darker side of it, but depends on how it is. But I don't think there is per se, these are all new terminologies, and maybe tomorrow you can come up with a new terminology yourself, like VRIO, and say that I'm going to call it PESTEL from tomorrow. So PESTEL is what my new thing is. I'm going to give you a PESTEL version of the world around me. What is the PESTEL version of the world around me? The PESTEL version could stand for, again, stories told in different ways. So PESTEL is all about the external factors that can ruin my business. Political factors, nobody wants to invest in a country where there's lack of political stability. Somewhere in term 3, you will start learning about Halstead's dimensions of culture, and then you will see why these things matter. And again, why would anybody want to invest in a country where there's no political stability, and then an outsider is not treated well? Imagine a country where you like the whole concept of the Swiss bank. You exploit your mother country and go ahead and invest in Swiss, and the Swiss benefit from you. And then so political. There could be economic parameters, which better than all of us. The 2920 was a good lesson to understand what could happen when business shuts down, and how some businesses, even the best of the businesses, even the businesses which ran 100 years, businesses which ran 50, 60 years, couldn't take 1 year impact. But there have been small businesses, probably small proprietary businesses, who hung on, who survived the pandemic and did that. So lots of businesses closed because they don't have economic things. Then there is social impact. TikTok is more like, TikTok may not be a social impact, but there are lots of social impact stories that happen around, and then you are wiped out. Or the Chinese, the not buying of the MI phones possibly is because socially we have been encouraged to look at it differently. And Lots of things can be told about why one technology comes and throws out another technology, and why fossil fuel is not in vogue today because it's not environmental friendly. You might be doing very well, but you might be not on the right side of the law, and you could be in trouble. So that's another pestle. That's another pestle example. Okay. Now, other terminologies are cost of acquisition of customer, CAC, cost of acquisition of customer. Every customer that comes into you, you've spent some money to acquire the customer. Even assuming that you as a customer for Dayanand Sagar College, they set up a website, they had somebody give you a call. I don't know how you joined up here. They have an establishment, they sent you brochures, they sent you stuff. It costed them X amount of money, and there is Y amount of money that they will eventually get out of it. If the Y is more than the X, the company is profitable, but while the cost of acquisition of the customer is too high, that's what happens in the new age products. You spend heavily on advertising your app, you spend heavily on market promotion, and so the cost, there is a very often quoted statement about why Airtel in its initial days in Africa did not do well. Because what Airtel did was to acquire a new company, and the total money that they spent to acquire was initially 9 billion and another 5 billion. So it's about $14 billion that they paid to acquire a telco in Africa, which translated to $250 per customer. Now, $250 into, let's say $200 into 100 is about how much? 2 lakhs? Yeah, 2 lakhs or 20,000? 2 lakhs, 2 lakhs. So imagine you spend 2 lakh of rupees to acquire a mobile customer. And how loyal is he? He is just one SIM throw away. So then how can you ever make money? It is assumed that a customer will stay with me for 10 years and he will use my services and all that. So sometimes a good business model is where the cost of acquisition of a customer is very low compared to the cost, to the revenue that it makes. A better example is if you look at all these DTH channels, what do they give you? They give you an antenna, they give you a set-top box, and they charge you peanuts. They charge you peanuts. They charge you for $1,000, but actually they incur something like $5,000. Now, they are under the assumption that you will stay with them for 2 years and they will recover the cost. Now, remember, it takes 2 years to recover the cost. They only make money in the end of the 3rd year. So this is something that one has to keep into account when one does a customer acquisition cost calculation. That is one parameter that I wanted to talk to you about. The other is average revenue per user. What is average revenue per user? We have Manar on one side and we have Naushad on the other side of the example. Manar is always using his Airtel phone and he's making lots of international calls. He's doing everything. He refuses to use any other Wi-Fi service. So he is billing something like 1,500 a month for Airtel. Whereas Naushad on the other side believes in the Indian formula of missed calls. So he'll only give a missed call to his friend and the friend calls him back. So he is hardly using his phone and he's recharging for $199. So the revenue from Naushad is $200, whereas the revenue from Manar is about 2,000 rupees. So 2,000 plus 200 is 2,000. 200 divided by 2 is 1,100 rupees is the average revenue per user, assuming that there are only 2 users. Now, who do you think Airtel would love to work with? And who do you think Airtel would be happy to get rid of? Airtel would do anything to maintain and continue, ensure that Mannar stays. And Airtel will be more than happy to make sure that Naushad gets disgruntled and moves away. So average revenue per user is a parameter of measurement to understand how much my customer is giving me, or how much is an average that a customer is giving me. So they could be average user by month, average user by week or daily. That's further breaking down the conversation. That's one thing. Then there are macro and micro factors to environment business. I think this may need a full slide, full screen. What are macro businesses? Macro are those big things that happen in life, which we have no control on, or which having global impact. Like the COVID-19 is a macro part of the business. You know, it affects everybody. It doesn't affect one individual or one entity or one organization. A new law, a new political decision, a new technology could do that. But micro are something that's happening in my own backyard. There's something wrong with my supplier. My supplier is not sending me, or I have a unique competition in my region, or my shareholders are a little cranky, or I have a bad media about myself, or my customers somehow don't like me. So those are micro parts of the businesses, and both affect my life, right? Both affect my life. Life could be affected by a macro factor. Life could be affected by a micro factor. Largely, micro can be managed. Macro is possibly a little too big to be able to manage. Unless and until there's a new law and you are the Tata, you are the Ambani, it is possible for you to tweak the law to your own benefit. So that's a macro kind of a situation. So this much on those points. Is there another slide? Okay. So are you guys with me on ARPU, CAC, and macro, micro? Make sense? Makes sense, right? Okay. Now let's look at business in a slightly different way. Let's look at business in a slightly different way. There are many ways in which markets can be defined. Markets can be defined as one way to define markets is to define markets as oceans. Some crazy guy came up with this, and there's actually a crazy couple, I think, who came up with this idea. But then you'll know their names soon. So they said, how do we define markets? Some are great markets, some are dirty markets, some are dog eat dog world, they say, right? Or some are exclusive markets, some are niche markets. So these guys came up with a 3x3 matrix and say markets can be defined in the following way. One is bottom right, we have a red ocean market. Top left, we have a blue ocean market. Now, if you look at it further down, as you can see, a red ocean market is a market where you will undergo a lot of pain. You as the company, you are the entity who is entering this market will undergo a lot of pain. Despite all that pain, the delight that you may bring to the customer is still minimal. Now, if I'm giving you two negatives, why the hell should you want to go there at all in the very first place? So you understand, the market is going to be very painful for you, and it's going to take huge amount of effort to delight the customer, and normally the customer delight is going to be very low. That's the red ocean market. A blue ocean market is a market in which you undergo the least pain to address the market or create the market or whatever that is. But your customers are going to be absolutely delighted by what you have to offer. So these are two extremes. One is called the blue ocean theory. The other is called the red ocean theory. Sitting somewhere is all other examples like the yellow, there's the volcano, there is oasis, there is green ocean, all that stuff. But primarily blue ocean and red ocean. Now, red ocean is, do I have a better slide to talk about it? No. Okay, so you got to stick to the slide and listen to me very carefully. A red ocean market, you need to have guts to enter that market. Now, before, it's very difficult to do MBA classes without mentioning Uber, Geo, Facebook, but then we'll try to, as we keep going into the subsequent classes, we'll take other examples. Now, when Geo entered the market was already crowded. There were already 5 to 6 operators in each circle or each city. And nobody was making money. Even in those times, they were fighting with each other. And what new could you have offered to a customer who knew everything about the product? But Reliance is a kind of an organization which can enter that market and make a killing out of it. And instead of it killing itself, it was a shark among the fishes, and it virtually ate up everybody. So that's what is called a red ocean theory on markets. A blue ocean is that you come up with an innovation which is so brilliant that nobody even thought about it. For example, when Apple came up with their first phone, imagine a phone which doesn't have keyboard. But that brings in total innovation. Or imagine a product like Alexa. What do you compare a product with Alexa with? Or anything else for that matter? How do you come up? Or I don't know, probably somebody thought of an oximeter, which was so simple to do. So you come up with so much of innovation, the market doesn't cause you pain, and you bring in greatest delight to the customer. So that's the model on blue ocean. I hope you guys are following me. Now, sitting on the other corner, top right, it's almost like a boxing match. So sitting on the right corner is Mr. Luxury Sport. What is Mr. Luxury Sport? Mr. Luxury Sport gets you the pain, absolute pain market. As you can see, it is on the pain point very high, but it's also on the delight point very high. What does that mean? Is that you're entering a market where you will have to experience a lot of pain to bring delight to the customer, but you bring in a delight. For example, a Rolex watch. It's still a watch. It's still going to show you the time. And it's not going to make you reach in time, or it's not going to make your friend come in time. Or it's the Apple Watch. It's going to give them delight. The delight factor is hidden in the red ocean silo. So that is what is called the luxury spot. The luxury spot, then you have the volcano. The volcano is, according to me, saturated market, nothing new you can do, but you come up and do something which takes everybody by surprise. There were Facebooks, there were Instagrams, there were WhatsApp, and this guy called TikTok comes in. Very, very difficult to enter a market which has already got 5, 6 players. But I don't know what he did, but within months, it was like a volcanic eruption that overnight he took over the market. So that is what is called the volcano thing. It's sweet spot. You know what is a sweet spot? You are delivering exclusive products to a particular industry. Let's say medical films, sweet spot. Not many are there. You're doing some service, or the guy who came up with the Arogya Setu app. That's very keen point out there. Then OSS is you're stuck in the middle. You don't know where you are. You don't know which way to head. Assuming that Amazon is primarily concentrated on tier 1 cities, and Flipkart seems to be doing well in tier 2 cities. What is the role of Snapdeal? How does he go? Where should he go? He's stuck. He doesn't know which model to follow. Should I run the Amazon way and deliver better services in Bangalore, or should I follow with Flipkart and do our services out there? That's a stuck in the middle kind of a model. No Man Island is a model where you have a great product. It's not too bad. It's a crowded market. As you can see, it's a crowded market out there, but you're in the wrong place. For example, Bounce. For example, Bounce or the other rental company, motorbike rental company.
Vogo, sir.
Which one?
It's a Vogo. Rental bikes.
Vogo, right. Yeah. So assume that Vogo believed that the market existed in taking people from their apartments to the shopping malls. So he puts up these Vogo motorbikes in front of shopping malls. The plan is brilliant. The idea is super, but you are stuck in a wrong segment. What is the segment you should have been? You should have put it in front of metro stations, and you should have put it in front of IT companies. So the IT company guys come out, take the Vogo and go and park it in front of, not that he did it, I'm just giving you an example. So that is what it is, the No Man Island situation, wherein you have a great product, but you don't know, you're not addressing the market. Green Ocean is unlike the environment. Green Ocean is wherein you bring in efficiency into the same service. Same product, same thing. That's what Indigo says. Same company, same people, same thing, or like the Aam Aadmi Party ad in the television saying that wahi log, wahi contractor, lekin kaam jaldi ho raha hai. So that is, you use the same thing, but you start tweaking it. Turnaround time of Indigo between gate to gate is something like 45 minutes. It takes away, whereas Air India takes 1.5 hours to take off after it's landed. So that is what is called the hack. Disruptive is come up and overnight you disrupt the market. There are lots of them, right? I mean, the likes of Netflix, the likes of Uber, they come, they give you great delight. They are addressing a market which is not as painful. They are not competing with autos, but they have their own unique model. So if you have understood this, may I suggest you to take a shot at, section B, right? Suggest you to take a shot and let me know how good have you understood the subject to be able to give your answers. So can I give you guys 5 minutes, or let's say 11:52? So I'll give you 8 to 9 minutes for you to attempt this. This is for me feedback, because by your answers, I would know whether you've understood it well or not. So I would honestly want every one of you to attempt it and give me an answer. Right? I'll give you a few minutes of work exercise. That's the way it's going to be in my classes. I'm going to, instant feedback is a good idea. So go ahead, take a shot at it, and let's see how it goes. I guess there's a little bit of an ambiguity in my question. I would want you to name 3 markets. That's the, I guess I was just going through the question. It seems to be the same questions repeated again and again. So it actually means that I gave you 9 markets or oceans. I want you to pick up 3 out of them and give me. So I said, give me an example of red, give me an example of whatever it is. And sometimes you may have to, I want you to start thinking a little bit and see what, there could be markets within your own organization, within your own market, within your own sectors that you work with. So I do understand there's a little bit of ambiguity in my questioning. That's the point that I was trying to state. That said, let me go back to responses and see how are you all doing. I have first quite a few come up here. There's Ola, Uber. Good ones, good ones. Yeah, I agree with you, Sanjeev. That's a good example of a blue ocean. Green is also Sri Lakshmi is talking about. Yeah, good. Yeah, Abhinav, I agree with you. The Udupi restaurants do have their own sweet spot. I mean, even a Udupi restaurant, I don't mind taking a business colleague along. They have a uniqueness in their own thing. Red Ocean, whether corporate can achieve. Green Ocean creating. Okay. Harsh Tiwari, you've come up with something very nice on the no man's land. That's the problem that Skype is facing today, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Good one. Good one. What do we have here? Good one, Sumit. Right, Manvita. Good one. Pavan, I agree with you on the Red Ocean on Star Bazaar. Good one. Rahul is. Yeah, good. Rahul, cred is a good idea. Yeah, entering into a. So what's the time? Still have yeah, still have lots of responses pending. I know it takes time. Okay, Rahul, you may want to define where does urban clap fall under? We look at names and see who's where. Participants list. Richie, what's up? Vani, Prasanna, well, I hope you're working on it. Vishal.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Vani has been very quiet. Deeply engrossed. What's the time? Oh, 12:02. Okay, good. Yeah, thank you very much. You guys been getting your stuff in. Do you want a few more minutes or do we move on? I'll give you another 3 minutes for those of you who are Blue Ocean Nintendo, that's brilliant. Vivek, that is. Right, Pooja. I know Geo is just getting into Geo Mart is another major stuff. That's very nice, Santosh. Good to hear about TSLA, unless automobile manufacturer that sells battery electric. Oh, you're talking about Tesla. Yeah, yeah, correct. Very nice. Gautami, that's very nice on your thought on sweet spot. Gautami says BSA cycles have their own sweet spot. So many years, people will still go buy a BSA cycle for their kids. That's it. Whatever you may want to do, that's the way it is. Zero Da stockbroking, Gautam says is, oh, did I say Gautami? Sorry, Gautam. Gautam says Zero Da stockbroking is a good example of volcano. They came up from nowhere. How many of you here? There are 60 or 59. Leave me out 58. I would want to hang on till I get 30 at least. Otherwise, I assume that you're paying heavily for your sleep. Vishal, I didn't see yours. Not that it honestly matters to me, but I'm just trying to wake you up.
Yes, sir. One remaining. Yeah.
I'm just not you, of course. All of you. Like I said, I'm here to teach and. Oh, did I do something wrong? Back to meeting. Okay, done. I'm done with you guys. I'm using the company laptop and yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. No problem. But then get a little more prepared, Manjunath. It's because I might be asking you more of these often. So you may have to find a way to handle it. So good. How many more slides do I have? 75 from 54. Okay, good. Let's move on. So where were we? Am I on pause mode? No. Okay. So good job, guys. I hope you all understood what these things mean. These are all the new way of looking at markets. The guys who created this were recently awarded or they, what is what is that thing called? The Hollywood Walk of Fame or something it's called, right? The Hollywood Walk of Fame, wherein there's a star for each Hollywood actor who's done well. There's one for Amitabh as well. So I don't recall what is that word, but similarly, there is something called a Thinkers 50 group. It's a very nice, popular group. The best business thinkers exist. Tiffany Boa is one of them. And these guys, the guys who came up with the concept of markets, and as you can see, it's a nice concept. You were able to position your own product where you are and what you should do. You see, the also means that the higher up you go, you actually can demand a better price. That's more important. A blue ocean strategy would mean that there's nobody to compete with, so you can obviously demand the thing. A sweet spot would mean that you have a committed customer, and that's very, very important in business. Your customer base is guaranteed. Your customer base is guaranteed all the time. So there you go. Now let's go to the next subject. It's all about marketing strategy. As always, going well, we go further down the marketing strategy to, well, no, what is this? You read it. Okay, I also want to add at this stage, it's good for you to know that my slides come from here. My slides come from here. Some slides I create, but some slides are actually professors have access to primary teaching material. So I pull it out from there. For example, where is it? Yeah, maybe this slide is just something that I created, whereas this is a slide that is kind of part of the teaching documentation. You might also find some interesting click for notes here. I don't know what I did, but you might also find some notes there in the bottom. Those notes are, why is my video off? Those notes are for the official notes from the publisher in terms of examples or in terms of case studies or whatever they are. So try to read them up and get a better hang of it. And a slide like this, I'm unlikely to be explaining or describing. It's because it's easy for you to read, and we like to stick it that way. So we'll get more and more on this subject. We'll get there. But let's look at another one. It's probably the last topic of conversation today, is that if you go back to the famous slide that I asked you to remember, which is the slide on the marketing mix, there was something called the 4 Ps: product, place, promotion, price. And this 4 Ps is so ancient. We always learned about the 4 Ps of business and all that. We'll also realize that the world has changed and why 4 Ps is not so very important today. But again, a street smart guy is somebody who knows how to beat the law, but for that he must learn the law. So first let's understand the 4 Ps and then go ahead and challenge the 4 Ps. So what are the 4 Ps? The 4 Ps are, one is of course the product. Yeah, that. And honestly, there's no order in which you can arrange it. They all have important as the other one. Okay, so if price is there on the top, no reason why it shouldn't be at the bottom. It's just that the better way to arrange it would be in a circular fashion in which you give nobody extra positioning. The product as such is that physical element or service that you are delivering. That much. And the product has very limited play factor. What does that mean? Is that sometimes when you come out with the product, you can't go back and tweak the product again. Let's say you come up with a I don't know how many of you have seen this car called the Espresso from Maruti. Honestly, I don't think it's a car which it's pleasing to the eye. But obviously, they are not idiots. They've gone through a lot of research and they'll find a way to make that sell. But there's little that they can actually tweak the product. So many a time, product tweaking is very limited element that you can do once the product has been manufactured or the product has been conceived or the product has been packaged as a service. But the product inputs come from marketing, which means to say the customer wants this, and hence this is the product that I want. But there is so much of uniqueness in the product. If you are smart, there's so much of tweaking that you can do to the product, as simple a product as this, that you can bring in so much of variety. Why do I say so? Look at this mosquito repellent market. Simple product. What does that simple product say that you get? The pain of the customer is that mosquitoes bite him. So I need a product which gets rid of the mosquitoes. Look at the evolution of this product. You came up with tortoise, coils, so painful. I at least know one family which had a death because they snored their way while the coil burnt into their mosquito net or whatever. So and then you came up with what was those kind of tablets which you power them on. Then you came up with these liquids, and then you came up with liquids which had different type of dispensers, and then somebody came up with which had high power mode or low power mode. And what recently I observed is something which says that I was very much carried away by that ad that I was watching yesterday, that I added the slide this morning. So they said that the mosquito, whatever the good night, I don't want to use the word good night because so synonymous with mosquito repellents, that they say that it's got an AI interface. It's got an AI interface and it can identify the intensity of the mosquitoes. And they know whether there are 3 or 43 of them. And it will then direct the box to behave accordingly. So much of product tweaking can happen, or toothpaste for that matter. So much of product tweaking can happen. So that's based again on even a simple product like this, that's based on customer feedback. So that's the P part of your learning. And then you have place. Place is something where is your product available, and how important is you make this product available to you. And the place is so very important. Sometimes you might be selling the wrong product at the wrong place. I mean, we discussed about it, right? In terms of the oceans. And what example do I have? Okay. Maybe a slightly dated example, but I don't know how many of you have stood in the queue for getting a US any kind of stamping for that matter. Even it's a business stamping or something like that. You go to Chennai, you go early in the morning, you go there, and I'll tell you, this probably is based on my own experiences, is that you go there, you stand there, and when was this? Yeah, maybe it's a story 10, 15 years back or something like that. So you stand there in the queue and you go there early morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. It's been, I'm sure you guys have similar experiences. Then somebody actually sleeps overnight for you. If you know somebody there, he'll sleep for you and they'll get up and give you the slot. But most importantly, that's not the story I'm trying to tell you. The story I'm trying to tell you is you stand there and then one guy comes up and says, sir, do you have your drafts ready for giving it? They don't accept checks. They're the new world. We are not in the new world today. I'm talking about a slightly dated story. So do you have drafts ready for to be given to submit to the visa authorities at the US Embassy? And then you realize you don't have a draft. And imagine morning 7 o'clock, kahan bhagoge? Where will you run to get a draft? These are very smart guys standing and walking up and down the queue. They have drafts ready for you. They have drafts ready for you. They have these drafts with them, and you draft for $1,000. The guy's going to charge you 2,000. But why is it? It's because he has a product. A draft is a draft, no grade about it. But he's got it exactly at that place, and that makes the difference. That makes the difference. So placing is very, very important. I don't know how many of you have had this experience of going out there, standing in the middle. Any one of you? I mean, that make you very old, of course. But have you had similar experiences standing for a US stamping and go very early in the morning? Anyway, let's move forward. The second is promotion. The second is promotion. Is how do you promote your product? Now you have search engines, your search engine optimization, you put up banners out there. Have you put the right banner at the right place? So how do you promote your product? So we will spend some time learning about what the promotion part of it is. Do I have an example for promotion? Oh, yes. Okay. So I was trying to find something for promotion and was struggling with it. And then I got this possibly the brilliant idea. I was saying that one of the things that actually they can do is somebody can do is you fly, you land in the business country or the business place that you want to go. And first thing you want to do is get yourself an Uber or an Ola. Or alternatively, why can't Mr. Akbar Travels, because that's the name that came to my mind, do a promotion of his service right behind the boarding pass. Now, of course, boarding pass is history, but I couldn't think of an example, but I was just trying to create one. So the boarding pass would have a promotion saying that if you walk in with your boarding pass and give this code something and your flight number gives you a 30% discount. So you are actually promoting your services to the gentleman even when he is at the boarding point. So he plans up for it. So something that's an example of promotion where you are catching the attention of the person at the right place. Then we have the pricing as a strategy. Pricing as a strategy, because most of us have grown up assuming that pricing is very important. Trust me, pricing is of the least importance. And when you make your presentations to me, when you make your assignment presentations, note that price has its own limitations. You can't, you reduce the price, the customer will want a lower price next time. So what example do I have on price? Okay, I have a different example on price. Very quiet out there. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Professor.
Good. You know, I'm sorry about that. I keep asking you. You see, the space rocket communicates every second where it is in terms of the thing. So similarly, I want to make sure that I'm talking sense to you guys, and you guys are not following me would be a problem. So I'm going to throw this question open to the team out there. I've been very, very talkative for the last 3 years. Now look at this pricing chart and tell me what's the problem. Let's see who can give me an answer.
Everybody is hiking the price the same. So if one guy does it, everybody like the price, the revision in the price, right? Nobody's keeping.
No. You are heading the wrong way. Give it a thought. Give it a thought. Smart. Give it a slightly different touch.
It has noticeable increase in the pricing. So generally, a consumer wouldn't feel that he's paying extra, even though he is. See, from the transition from 19 to 21 is not a lot, but there is a hike, and the consumer wouldn't know that he's paying extra.
Who's speaking?
This is Nihal here. Nihal.
I want you to. You are in the right path, but I want you to think a little more smarter.
Okay.
Professor, if I may, Abhinav here.
Oh, yeah.
The product might show that the actual price is quite higher, but the product is available on low price. So people will buy it instantly.
Have you guys anytime? Now, this is a dangerous question to ask you, but I'll go ahead and ask it. Have you guys been told by your wives or your mother or your husbands to go and bring milk from the Nandini booth?
Yes, Professor.
Yes, Professor. Yes.
Now you've been pushed out of the house to go and bring it, and now tell me, what is the problem with this pricing?
It's carrying the change of additional 1 rupee for 21, 26, Professor.
Perfect. Exactly. So you see where the pain point is. You see where the pain point is. The pain point is somebody designed this pricing, has no idea of what the pain that the customer is going through. At 19, I can understand because the customer is willing to give away 1 rupee to the milkman or to the distributor. And you can be magnanimous, 1 rupee rakh lo, or whatever that is. But at 21, there's no way the milkman or the distributor or the Nandini outlet is going to be magnanimous with you. Because if he does that, he might be setting a new trend at 21 or at 26. They should have designed this slightly better. Maybe they could have done anything. They could have probably reduced it from 500 ml to say 400 ml and made it 20 rupees so that it's convenient business. So as you can see, this is okay. This is a sweet spot business or a monopoly business. We don't have an option but to buy from him. But in a more competing world, pricing can damage markets. Pricing can damage markets. So I hope you were able to get the flavor to my thought process. Now, if you recall my conversation with you, another 5 minutes to go. Okay, you recall a conversation with you in the first class. I told you that the first class, historically, there was less production and more demand, and the world looked at it from the 4 P's. Product, mera product kaisa bichega, main kahan bechna hai, or whatever the thing is. But that's gone. Now there are more products and few customers. So your 4 P's have to be replaced by 4 C's, which is what value do I bring to the customer? What does it cost to the customer? Not what is the price I sell. Do I make my availability in a convenient place to the customer? I'm so excited that Namdari is now opening up 24/7. So which means that I can go late night, pick up some stuff. Convenience. And then what is the message that I'm communicating to them? What am I telling them? What am I telling them? What is the message? Do I convey a good message to my customer? That is what it is. Again, why am I saying that? Is that everything of the 4 P's trickle down to the organization. You do your 4 P's wrong, it could impact the customer. It could impact the company. That's the point that I'm trying to say. Read it for yourself. So 4 P's have become 4 C's. We're tired of 4. We make them 7. Because at the end of the day, I want a physical evidence. With whatever it is, I want to feel the product. That's exactly why Amazon says, don't bother. You want to feel the product, order it. And we promise to return it back to you. I mean, we promise to take it back. Second is, I want to know who are the people. The people matter. Do I like the person who's selling the product or not? I tried booking, I wanted to encourage Air India so much. I tried booking a ticket for over Air India website. Air India website, I don't know, for some reason it's so complex. Whereas, one touch. Why did Domino's virtually take over every other competitor's market during the COVID? Because they came up with some brilliant process. They said one-touch ordering of your pizza. A very, very brilliant idea that they said. So the process is very important. So the 4 P's became 7 P's. 7 P's became 7 C's. Now 7 C's are what you have today. Okay. What do I have here? Break it. We'll do this in the next class. Okay. So I'm done with all of you. I hope you enjoyed the class, and this is the best time for you to ask me any questions before we wind up. No questions? Okay. While there are no questions, I don't want you guys behaving like typical MBA or typical graduate students. I want you to challenge what I'm saying. I want you to question what I'm saying. And if you can't question it or you believe that it's right, I want you to compliment what I'm saying. I want you to come up with your own story. Somebody says, I got 15 years experience. Somebody says, I got 3 years experience. Demonstrate it. And I'm telling you this is the best time for you to change your attitude. This is the best time for you to, from becoming an introvert to becoming an extrovert. This is the best time for you to open up. You can't open up in your offices. You can't open up because of compulsions. This is the best time for you to speak openly. And I honestly, thoroughly encourage you to do that. And that's also the philosophy of the institution, right? So good. All the very best, and I'll see you 2 weeks from now.
Professor, one last question on the assignment of first class, which you have uploaded.
Yes, sure. Yes.
We are a group of 10 people. Now, how do you want us to prepare that? All 10 should be presenting it, or how is it? If you can guide us.
Be presenting it.
No, it would be a one consolidated presentations, and 10 will speak on it. Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And if you've okay. Now you believe that 10 is too tough for us to speak. All of us speak on this topic. It's going to be very tough. It's impossible that each of us can get more than 30 seconds of time. And there's only that much of leeway available for us with one subject. You're most welcome to take one more subject and split it among yourselves.
All right. Thank you.
Got it? So you believe that all 10 of us working on Netflix is meaningless, sir? I mean, how much can we add in? So no, take something else. Take Tata or whatever. What I want from you is, I'm going to be the assignment philosophically and by the approach by the institution are very punishing. We expect you to work hard on it and demonstrate that you have learned the subject. So I really believe that I would want to see great presentations coming out of you guys. And those are going to be, of course, as a part of your learning process. Now you understand what 4 P's are, understand what red oceans are. And try putting them in the assignments. So that's why I told you, take a shot at the assignment at the end of my next class, by which time I would have also done the next subject, which is segmentation and targeting. So by which you would have more or less a good idea about what is expected of you. Okay.
Professor, what is the questions for assignment? Like what we have to read about the companies?
No, there is a PDF only on questions.
Okay.
There are 7 PDFs that were uploaded in your LMS. 6 of them are assignments. 7th is a question for each of the assignments.
Okay.
Okay, nobody has seen that? I believe some of you may have seen.
Yes, it is there, Professor.
Okay. Okay. Good. All the best. Have your lunch and we'll catch up. Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor.